welcome. I'm Suma Katauka and you're watching World of Sports on NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the top stories from the sports world over the last week. The 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, also referred to as Afcon 2025, will be the 35th edition of the biennial Africa Cup of Nations tournament organized by the Confederation of African Football. It will be the second edition hosted by Morocco and is set to begin on the 22nd of December. Six-time major champion Carlos Alcaraz has split with his coach Juan Carlos Ferrero in a shock move. Alcaraz, 22, has worked with his fellow Spaniard since he was a teenager, but announced on Wednesday that the pair have decided to part ways before the 2026 season. Chelsea FC coach Enzo Maresca has put speculation to rest about a potential return to Manchester City, a move that could have reunited the Italian with Pep Guardiola in the dugout. Rory McIlroy was voted BBC Sports Personality of the Year 2025, capping a standout 12 months in which he finally completed golf's career Grand Slam and helped inspire Europe to a historic Ryder Cup victory on US soil. Now we start this hour with cricket. Travis Head has put Australia firmly in control of this Ashes test, following up his explosive century in Perth with a more patient grinding 100 on his home ground at Adelaide Oval. Head finished the day unbeaten on 142 from 196 balls, striking 13 4 hours and 2 sixes. He survived a crucial drop chance on 99 before reaching his fourth consecutive century at the venue. Australia closed day 3 on 271 4-4 with Alex Carey unbeaten on 52, extending the hosts' overall lead to 356 runs. England briefly found hope through Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer, but once again failed to capitalize with questionable bowling choices and momentum slipping away. England now faces a daunting task to keep their Ashes hopes alive. Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Tas Rizvi. He's a senior sports journalist, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Mr. Rizvi, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, how significant is Travis Head's ability to shift from aggressive...
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. Welcome back. Now, looking at this cricket, how significant is Travis Head's ability to shift from aggressive stroke play to a patient grinding innings in terms of Australia's dominance in this Ashes series?
Definitely, you don't get to see Travis Head play something like this, a grinding knock. Normally, he's somebody who likes to be aggressive on the ball throughout. But this knock is something special. I mean, makes him stand out from his regular kind of natural hitting or maybe slugging throughout. But yeah, Australia has been in control of this particular test series. I mean, Ashes back-to-back 2 test wins, first in Perth, which was where Mitchell Starc bowled his heart out, got his career best 7 wicket haul, followed by Brisbane Test. Both matches, Australia won by 8 wickets. I mean, they are on the verge of third test victory. And if they win this particular test match, it's 3-0 for Australia out of 5 test matches. So I think what Travis has shown, of course, he's been mature enough. He's been hammering Team India as well. I can't forget his deadly knocks, dangerous knocks, which has snatched away wins from the jaws of snatched away the defeat from for Team India. But when it comes to playing against England, he's been special. I mean, this knock is completely contrasting from what he played in Perth Test, where he was very aggressive, where he played those horizontals which were required on those bouncy fast tracks. But this was something special. I mean, coming out on a Adelaide track, which is still difficult. Pink ball cricket is not easy to handle the pink ball because it swings a lot. It's day-night test match. But this guy showed again he can switch gears whenever it is needed. And again, he's put Australia back on track for the third test match. And England is on the mat right now. Uh, Definitely, it's a special knock. And let's hope he goes on to get a double hundred or maybe another 250, 300.
Yes, very exciting. We will be eyeing that. Thank you for highlighting that, Mr. Rizvi. And what does this head's fourth consecutive century at Adelaide Oval say about the impact of venue familiarity and conditions on elite batting performance?
Yeah, fourth consecutive Adelaide on his home ground is special for somebody like Travis said. He's a very passionate cricketer, somebody who enjoys playing different kind of on different conditions, and he's been very very successful at his home ground. Shows that how how he can change his game whenever it is needed, and he's done in this particular knock as well. I mean, he's been aggressive throughout. He's looked up as a dangerous player who can take the game away from the opposition in no time. But this knock showed that this guy can also switch his gears when it is needed, and he's put Australia on track for another test win. But then having fourth consecutive hundred at home in his home ground is something special. I think he will remember this for a long, long time. And I think this is not the end. This is I think he's just the beginning. He'll going to hammer more no hundreds, get more runs. And I'm scared when he comes to India in T20 cricket, but in during the World Cup in February, March. But again, going that's T20 cricket, going back to Test cricket, definitely this is going to be special for him, and the way he's played his international cricket, it makes him an extraordinary player. Despite shortcomings when it comes to technicalities of the game, he's definitely a dangerous player to watch out for.
Yes, indeed. And lastly, Mr. Rizvi, from a tactical standpoint, where did England's bowling plans fall short during this innings, and what can they change heading into the final day?
No, it's definitely it's not just this particular test match. Throughout, I mean, they have been struggling to find that experience of James Anderson, who has been pillar of strength. Whether you talk about playing in England at home for England and then away in Australian series, yeah. Despite having Jofra Archers and some of the best bowlers in their lineup, people who can clock 140, 140 plus, but then it's about the experience that they lack playing in this particular test series. Ashes is a big series, high pressure, intense series, and most of them have are playing their maybe a second or a third test series. But James Anderson, Stuart Broad used to be those dangerous guys out there for England, and they would put most of the time they would put Australia on the mat. But this time they are missing their special pair of Jamie Anderson and Stuart Broad in this particular test series. I wouldn't just say this particular test match, but then yeah, a lot of issues are there. Let's see if they can sort out in the next two test matches, especially starts with the Ben Stokes is struggling to bowl. He's not been taking those wickets. He used to have that role of all rounder, but yeah, some way or the other, it's the lack of experience that they have when it comes to playing a big series like Ashes. And Australia has been on top. Particularly their batting has been superb, and credit to their bowling, Mitchell Stark and Boland, the way they bowl the heart out. So I think it's Australia's game throughout because the way they have played more than England struggling anyway. It's just the experience, I believe.
Very sensational. Thank you for sharing that with us, Mr. Rizvi. Please stay with us as we come back to you for a later discussion as well. Now, moving on, African Cup. The 2025 Africa Cup of Nations is just days away, with hosts Morocco set to face Comoros in the tournament opener on Sunday, December 21st. 24 teams are competing for continental glory, with fans expecting drama, excitement, and top-level African football. The draw has placed Morocco in a group alongside Mali, Zambia, and Comoros, Egypt, hardline Group B, with South Africa, Angola, and Zimbabwe, while Nigeria begin their title bid in Group C against Tunisia, Uganda, and Tanzania. However, the hosts have suffered a major setback ahead of the kickoff. Paris Saint-Germain right back and Morocco captain Achraf Hakimi has been ruled out for several weeks with a severely sprained left ankle. The injury is a significant concern for coach Walid Regragui as Morocco prepares to host the tournament for the first time since 1988. Now we welcome Mr. Perdunuma Tembikar. He's an Indian ambassador of FIFA World Cup. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to NewsX World. Firstly, a very happy birthday to you, Mr. Perdumna.
Thank you.
And we're very grateful that you have taken time to speak with us today over here. My first question for you, thank you. How prepared is Morocco to host and compete in the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations?
Well, firstly, thank you so much for the wishes. And
Thank you.
looks like after the Arab Cup success that Morocco has recently had in Qatar, looks like Morocco as a team, as a setup under Walid Regragui, looks very well settled. But at the same time, as a venue of the FIFA Arab Cup winners hosting Afcon, it looks like the more than ready, machinery wise, or let's say logistics wise. Morocco looks like it's staging a grand return, and it's one of the more potential World Cup venues in the future. So, looking forward to how they host AFCON, so that they might as well give a dress rehearsal to how they might host the world.
Thank you for sharing that. And how big a blow is Achraf Hakimi's injury to Morocco's chances in this tournament?
Well, when I read the news of Achraf Hakimi and when I saw the mechanics of injury of the Moroccan star, it looked like more of what is called as a syndesmosis tear, something which is related to the ankle joint, and it's related to the bones of the ankle and the ligaments that connect these structures. But it looked like a mild sprain. So, as a precautionary measure, even if Walid Regragui might have included him in the squad, but also made sure that he gets his recovery time sorted while focusing more on the rehab perspective, considering that Morocco has a larger task to do in the middle of June when they play the FIFA World Cup. So, looking at that, I guess a 6 to 8 week recovery period should have been very ideal for him. But considering what happened in the Champions League match against Bayern Munich when Luis Diaz did the tackle, looks like um, if Morocco ends up in the business end of the tournament, I think Ashraf Hakimi would have had a chance to make a comeback, but it's all down to how the medical staff takes that call along with the coach and how tactically important he might be in the long run. Medically, as a professional, I would say it's okay to rest for a while unless and until it's absolutely necessary to give him some minutes. But tactically, his presence would also mean a lot for the Moroccans, especially when they're hosting the AFCON.
Right. And Mr. Tembikar, lastly, which teams or players should fans watch closely in this group stage?
AFCON is always an entertainer, always, because, and also given the fact that many of the African teams, the newer African teams, are getting into the FIFA World Cup, be it South Africa for that matter. So, recent example, yes, South Africa will have a new energy boost in themselves. Also, along with, I'm sensing Cameroon might just have a little bit of an edge. Yes, Egypt, Mohamed Salah, after whatever has happened in Liverpool for him, might just to as well make a very, very strong statement for himself. There's Zinedine Zidane's son, Lucas Zidane, who is going to play for Algeria, along with some of the stars, Victor Osimhen playing for Nigeria, or many of the Premier League players who are going to play there in the various colors in AFCON. So looking forward to an all-round spectacle, but also making sure that the old names like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang for Gabon, or let's say the half of Ivory Coast team that is always legendary in the making, makes a significant impact, not just from an entertainment perspective, but also ensuring that football in these countries goes to those peak levels which we used to see in the 2010s.
Yes, very interesting indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Perdumna and Tempikar, for joining us today and sharing that insight. Now we move on to our next news. Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul have faced off at their final press conference and weigh-in Miami ahead of this week's highly anticipated boxing match. The 8-round bout, billed as Jake versus Joshua Judgment Day, will take place at the Casilla Center, home of the NBA's Miami Heat, and will be streamed live on Netflix. Both fighters will wear 10-ounce gloves. Joshua weighed in at 243.4 pounds, around 12 kilograms heavier than Paul, who tipped the scales at 216.6 pounds. The former heavyweight champion said he is focused on the positives of the event, but admitted he's concerned for Paul's safety, adding that he hopes the American leaves the ring unharmed. Joshua has not fought this since his knockout loss to Daniel Dubois in September, while Paul comes in on a 6-fight winning streak, including a recent victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Let's listen into what the pair had to say at their press conference.
When you're in that ring, it's a dangerous place to be, and anything can happen. And you hope your opponent leaves the ring safely, but if they don't, you still have to go to bed at night knowing that you just done your job. It wasn't personal.
Yeah, absolutely, and rightfully so. It's smart on his part, but I believe he's locked in and knows that this could potentially be the biggest loss and will be the biggest loss of his career, and he has so much to lose in this fight, and that's what I plan on bringing to the table is the strategy behind this. I've got him in the corner, and I know that those nerves are going to kick in once he sees what I can do to him.
Now we move on to our next news. Retired NASCAR driver Greg Biffle, members of his immediate family, and others on board a business jet have been killed after the aircraft crashed and burst into flames in western North Carolina. The information was confirmed by family members of those on board and by NASCAR. The Cessna C550 went down at around 10:15 a.m. local time while attempting to land at Statesville Regional Airport in Ardell County, about 40 miles north of Charlotte, according to local officials and the Federal Aviation Administration. Airport authorities said 7 people were on board the plane. The North Carolina Highway Patrol has said that it is believed Biffle and members of his family were among those killed, but formal identification has not yet been completed because of the severity of the post-crash fire. The medical examiner's office is working to confirm the identities of the victims as the investigation continues. Now we move on to our next news. Carlos Alcaraz has announced he has split with his longtime coach Juan Carlos Ferrero, bringing an end to one of the most successful partnerships in modern tennis. Ferrero began coaching Alcaraz when he was just 15, guiding him through his rise on the ATP Tour and helping him transform from a clay court specialist into a dominant force on all surfaces. Together, they won 6 Grand Slam titles and helped Alcaraz reach world number 1. In a statement, Alcaraz thanked Ferrero for turning his childhood dreams into reality, saying their paths were parting from the top, the place they always worked towards. The 21-year-old finished the year with French Open and US Open titles, 8 trophies overall, and the year-end number 1 ranking for a second time. Alcaraz did not give a reason for the split, saying only that new adventures now lie ahead for both men. That was all for this episode of World of Sports. Stay tuned for more updates.